This is the book of Job, chapter 9, verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 29, verse 7. For the righteous consider the cause of the poor, but the wicked regardeth not to know it. It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 10, verse 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed. Verse 2, to turn aside the needy from the judgment, and to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. I want to start off by giving all praises, all honor, all glory to Kol Haloyim, La Yahweh, Ba Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba Hashem, Hakadosh Baruch. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so. Shalom to the Akwath, as well as the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord, willingly, this is an edifying video. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of the other nations, which appear like the other nations, but subscribe to this truth. To you, I say Shalom. It's the brother Yahweh Sap out of the GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant, coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit and through the power of Yahweh Shem Shai. And basically, I had an article, but for whatever reason, Satan must be busy. It won't come up. Bear with me for a second. Salakia for that. I had to actually go search it out because it's not coming up in my Newsbreak app. But it says, why Republicans are ready to kill the $300 pandemic and unemployment boost. It's by Tammy Luby. It says, even as Congress raced to rescue the nation from the coronavirus pandemic last spring, Republican lawmakers were raising red flags about expanding unemployment benefits, particularly providing a jobless with a weekly federal supplement worth hundreds of dollars. Now, as the country seeks to emerge from the outbreak that has left millions of Americans out of work, a growing chorus of GOP officials and business owners say that it is time to end the historic enhancement in order to push more people to rejoin the labor force. At least 3 red state governors have already moved to do so. Friday's disappointing jobs report, which showed the U.S. economy added a scant 266,000 jobs in April, has only heaped fuel on the fire. President Joe Biden and Democratic leaders, however, point to the job data as a reason to continue supporting laid off Americans. Lucky. It says to continue supporting laid off Americans. They argue there is little evidence that proves that expanded benefits are keeping workers on the sidelines. The job report is a rebuttal to the loose talk that the Americans don't want to work. Biden said, and the thing is this though, like I'm experiencing this, like I'm firsthand testimony. I'm experiencing. I lost my job in March. What they not telling you is this: it's more jobless claims than what you think. Because of the fact, like literally, I'm going through unemployment right now. So literally, they're behind. I'm going on almost 9 weeks of waiting to find out a decision. Last year, brother was telling me too, because I wasn't even going to apply for unemployment. Brother told me like, well, basically, he kind of encouraged me to do it. He was like, it took 3 weeks. They're literally like, so that's why I did a video prior talking about how unemployment testimony, because they're telling you the job numbers is down, but they got a record high. They're behind. Just like you got a lot of people that's behind on getting their taxes. The reason why people are late on the taxes is because a lot of the taxes they about to do now is about to be the ones that they're going to hand do, which they're going to actually look over to see if there's any discrepancies or whatnot where they can audit you, basically. Because you got people that get audited all the time during tax season. It's like statistics and numbers and whatnot. You know, that's when the shit get gangster. You know what I mean? It says President Joe Biden and Democratic leaders, however, point to the jobless data as a reason to continue to support laid off Americans. They argue there is little evidence that proves that expanded benefits are keeping workers on the sidelines. The jobs report is a rebuttal to the loose talk that the Americans just don't want to work, Biden said Friday, adding that many people can't find positions. While jobs are coming back, there are still millions of people out there looking for work. And I agree with that. You know what I mean? You got certain industries that need labor. I'm a felon in Esau society, so it's difficult for me to get jobs. But I've got callbacks. But you still got the fact that you know you know how they could discriminate if they don't want to deal with you if you're a felon and all that. So you still got that going on. Uh, Plus, the pandemic continues to weigh on many Americans despite the increase in vaccinations and drop in cases recently. More than 4.2 million people said they are not working because they are concerned about getting or spreading the virus, according to the census survey data from the second half of April. Nearly 2.5 million said they had coronavirus symptoms or were caring for someone who did, and 6.8 million said they were caring for children who were not in school or daycare. States are ending federal unemployment benefits enhancements. Over the past week, Republican governors of Montana, South Carolina, and Arkansas have announced they are terminating the federal jobless benefits in their states next month, including a 300 weekly boost in the payments for freelancers, independent contractors. Ooh, I didn't know that was going to affect that. You know what I mean? So all these people, so they got to get gangster. See, now the thing is, like we brought out at camp because this was touched on at camp. At the end of the day, say for instance, you owe the state money and you get a federal income tax. The federal, they can't touch your federal government income tax, but they can touch your state. So how can they stop you from getting the money that was already allocated by the federal government for, this pandemic unemployment, the PUA? Just showing you how you're not free and they can do what they want. Bear with me for a second. Salakia, it says payments for freelancers. It says basically they're terminating the federal jobless benefits in their states next month, including the 300 weekly bonus and the payments for freelancers, independent contractors, certain people affected by the virus, and those who've run out of their regular state benefits, all cited labor shortages. As we emerge from CV 19, retail and service companies, restaurants, and industries are attempting to return to pre-pandemic unemployment levels, but employees are as scarce today as jobs were a year ago, said Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson. And I just show you, proving to you how the government and these corporations are in hand in hand in league. They're in league, and that's how they're gonna push it. Like with this Maxine Waters, like the government doesn't want to seem like the bad guy, although the government is actually regulating this shit. But they don't want to appear like the bad guy, so they're going to force it on the companies. The companies is the ones that's going to push for you to actually have the vaccine to work. Flat out. It was articles and all kind of videos already on YouTube where people have lost their job because they wasn't willing to take it. So how far-fetched does it sound? Meanwhile, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce called for jettisoning the 300 supplemental, which Congress initially approved in December and recently extended through early September as part of the Democrats' $1.9 trillion coronavirus rescue plan. So at the end of the day, my point has been made. You know what I mean? This is a decently. Maybe I'll read this part. It says, in an unprecedented expansion, Congress enacted the historic expansion of nation's unemployment benefit system in March 2020 as the virus began to ravage the country, forcing most states to impose stay-at-home orders and many businesses to shut their doors and lay off workers. It has intended to support people while they couldn't work or looking for jobs. Lawmakers provided a $600 weekly supplement for 4 months, extended the duration of state benefits, and opened up the system to gig workers, the self-employed, freelancers, independent contractors, and people who could not work because of the virus or had to stay home because their children's schools had closed. Now the thing is this if you got 3 states, now mind you, I'm doing this because I've already did an article on this, but to show you how more states gonna jump aboard on it, literally when I did the article, it was just talking about South Carolina and Montana. Now you already got another state, Arkansas. This is going to be a chain reaction. You know what I'm saying? Because then where does that money that's supposed to go to these workers go? It's going back into the state. Several Republican senators, however, almost derailed the massive $2 trillion rescue plan over the $600 federal boost, which was added to state benefits. This bill pays you more not to work than if you were working, South Carolina Republican Senator Lindsey Graham said at the time, adding that it's the worst idea I've seen in a long time. The combination of state benefits and the weekly enhancement was equal to or larger than the average weekly wage for the jobs that were lost in 38 states, according to analysts by Ernie Tedeschi, an economist at Evercore IC, who is now with the Biden administration. That generosity plagued the supplement and proved to be a major factor in its not being renewed after expiring in late July. But as the economy began to teeter amid a fresh surge of coronavirus cases in December, lawmakers in both parties agreed to provide a weekly boost through mid March and extended the 2 expiring federal pandemic programs for another 11 weeks. Uh, I'm gonna finish it out. When Democrats took control of the White House and Congress in January, they sought to boost the supplement to 400 and extend it through the end of this December. But amid dissent within their own party, notably from moderate Democrat Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia, they ultimately agreed to continue the 300 enhancement until September 6th. So I guess right now you got the 300 till September 6th of this year. However, yeah, because when I was talking to the unemployment lady, she was saying that she was like, basically, it's proved to so put it like this: at the end of the day, if you banking on just living off of this unemployment, and I know people that got blessed through it for real, you better rethink it because if they talk about cutting, you know what I mean? That's just the Lord though. It's the Lord put the Spirit on them, literally, like, and that's gonna make it more difficult for everybody. You know what I mean? He about to have the price of goods go up on top of the fact that they about to take, and that's how funny this shit is. They doing this at the time when the price of goods about to go up. It's like they trying to create a chaotic situation, and that's wicked and that's evil. That make me think of the book of Micah, chapter 2, about how they plot evil on their beds. You can even get it out of Proverbs too, but you got it in Micah, you got it in Psalms. But the book of Micah, chapter 2, verse 1, it says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it's in the power of their hand. It was in their power of their hand to give you this money, and now it's in the power of their hand to take it away. That's the devil for real. Like I said, at a time when you about to need it the most. It sounds like to me, when people that's why they say don't give a person power over you like that. When people, like, for instance, if you stay with somebody, you know what I mean, and you not paying no rent or contributing like that, literally they have power over you. So you got to go with whatever they pretty much say because you can't take care of your own or you ain't got your own, So, and that's the same thing with this government. They try to put you in a situation where when you're relying on them. Just imagine you have had people getting this since last year, and now you about to just abruptly take it away. You know how that's gonna fuck up so many people? You got people that were so goofy they went and got cars and leased cars or actually playing car notes on cars because they thinking of this shit, not paying attention that this was gonna eventually dry up. And it's so spiritual because literally I applied for it and then I'm waiting for it. I still ain't got it. And then my old job called me back. So I'm like, Lord willingly, I get that money, but I'm not about to sit and wait for this shit. You know what I mean? I'm about to, the Lord allowed that to happen. You know what I mean? I don't want to go back to that place, but at the same time, I don't want to, not be able to eat. You know what I mean? So, in the scriptures it say, you don't work, you don't eat, right? Let me get it. We ain't got the kingdom right now. You got to fight for it. The scriptures say that. It said, through much tribulation, we shall receive the kingdom. Roughly paraphrased. It says, this book of Proverbs, chapter 22, verse 7. The rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. That's a clear-cut point. I ain't got to break that down for real. You know what I mean? Like, as long as you relying on these devils, you know what I mean? You are subject to them, flat out. And they really rather try and put you in subjection by actually creating a system where everything is digital, flat out. You know what I mean? This is the book of, like that one guy, Aaron Russo made the statement when he did that interview with, what's that dude name? Alex, that ain't even his real name, but what's that dude name? Alex Jones. And he said, basically, if you acting up or you buck against the system, they just cut off your chip. Yeah, so they go create a system where you completely relying on them, or otherwise, it made me think, and the crazy part is the Lord really does guide your steps, orders the steps of man, because it's not far-fetched to me because I grew up watching certain shows. So the things that we seeing now, it's like, wow. Like I remember that show. I remember I watched it with my father. That movie, Logan's Run. It wasn't a show. It's called Logan's Run. It was a movie. And literally, they had the chip. And at a certain age, basically, they took you out. You know what I mean? And that's why it was called Logan's Run, because he wasn't going to get taken out. That's where they made that, they remade the movie called it Repo Man. Because basically the dude Logan, him and his partner would go basically catch the people that it was time to literally when it was time to actually for them to take you out, you supposed to just went gently like a sheep or a lamb. But you had people that would run and their job was to go basically like bounty hunters, they would go chase them down. When it was Logan's turn to actually turn himself in, he ran. Just like the dude on Repo Man. He shit. You know what I mean? And when you watch that movie, it's so like it's so satanic, but it's actually showing you their vision. You know, they was putting they'd save your life, but then you was in debt. You couldn't afford to pay for the surgeries and shit like that. Like the guy, the rapper RZA was in there. Remember he owed, that's how dude ended up getting messed up in the movie because basically RZA wasn't trying to literally basically they come back and to the point after you done paid, like say for instance, they gave you a new heart. But you had to pay on that heart every motherfucking like week or month or something like that. So eventually the payments would get so ridiculous you couldn't pay it no more. And RZA was wealthy at the time. You know what I mean? But the point is they want to be able to like get to your money, like you completely ultimately reliant on them, you know what I mean? You know, and this system. And a life like that is not a life at all. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 73, starting at verse 1. Truly Yahweh is good to Israel, even to such as are of a clean heart. Bear with me for a second. Salakia, it says, but as for me, my feet were almost gone. My steps had well nigh slipped. Verse 3, for I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. Verse 4, for there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. Verse 5, they are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. Verse 6, therefore pride compasseth them about as a chain. And like I said, you could literally, like when you sit back and meditate on this, America is literally like in a low state right now, but you got Americans, these Babylonians, these fucking Edomites, as well as 2/3 of our own people that's more prouder than ever right now. To show you how really, literally blind the people are. You really got people thinking that they're going to bounce back. This place is going to bounce back. I was listening to Elder Apostle Tahar. He did a video. He had that one guy from the Kaiser Report. They literally, these Edomites are saying this shit over with. This is a big-ass Ponzi scheme. Because all they doing is printing money. But you go talk to a 2/3 dumbass Jake. You know what I mean? Like I told people that's like, don't get me wrong. You know, you're supposed to respect your elders, but just because a person is over you or older than you, they more experienced in life. But certain things, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's just certain things like if you're not aware of something, or you're not knowledgeable about something, just because you older doesn't make it, oh, you're right because you older. Like literally, like now, don't get me wrong. The thing about elderly, because the scriptures do talk about respecting the hoary head. You're supposed to respect your elders, but at the same, so if an elder say something, you're supposed to listen. You know what I mean? But a lot of times, you know, a lot of older people have a lot of pride. Now, I will say this though, you got to remember the elders have seen and experienced. Like you got a lot of older people that actually. I remember my father used to always make this statement. He was like, "I remember when water was free." Now you got to buy water out of bottle. You know what I mean? So they've seen change a lot. So in their spirit, they feel something about to happen. Trust me. Like my mother's going on like 80 years old. She born in a whole totally, you know what I mean, time and place. And deep down, she sees something coming, but you know what I mean? At the same time, I guess, you know, that's that, I ain't gonna say pride, but you know how women are. Women don't want to admit when it's a problem. You know what I mean? First, Salakia for digression. It says, therefore pride compasseth them about as a chain. Violence covereth them as a garment. Verse 7, their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than the heart could wish. What people have more than the heart could wish? Have the best and richest places on the earth. When I was just speaking on this, the other article I was saying, when you go, no matter what city you go to, it's always a specific area where nothing but Esau is. And the vibration of that area is totally different from where Jake tends to stay. And you got Jake that'll break their neck to go move up out there. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, is, you know, in areas like that, you know, you ain't suffering the curses as bad. You know what I mean? You know, you when you live in the projects or in the ghettos, you know, you might have to look over your shoulder when you walking home. You got to watch the people that's on the bus. It's a whole totally different You got to be way more observant as opposed to when you living in the suburbs. Suburbs, the police actually patrol the neighborhood. And the ghetto, the worst street, they don't give a fuck about what's happening on that street. The deadliest street in Cleveland, you would think they would have a patrol. Police don't even patrol it. Show you how full of shit the place is. Verse 8, they are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak lawfully. They don't even consider they oppressing you. Like the elder Apostle Tahar was going into what's the VAT tax. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like literally, they oppressing you by taking away this extra $300. So I'm gonna end it on a pleasant scripture though. Because we about to come into some times where a lot of people about to be in want. You know what I mean? God, so basically the wicked the Lord has everything reserved for a time. It tells you in the book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 4, I believe, it says, the Lord has created all things, even the wicked, for the day of judgment. You know what I mean? Everything has a purpose. The Lord created the wicked, he created the righteous. You know what I mean? And everything is set up for an appointed day. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 13, verse 9. Behold, the day of the Lord Yahweh, while Yahweh shall come up cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger. Salakia, it says, behold, the day of the Lord Yahweh, while Yahweh shall come up cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. Verse 10, for the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened and is going forth, and the moon shall cause her light to shine. Verse 11, the point. And I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease. And I will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. And the point is, you know what I'm saying, to show you how the Lord really, when he come with the fierce anger, is really going to fuck people up. Because like I said, if you got the spiritual eye, or if you got that spiritual eye salve and you can see what's coming, like we literally, brothers was adamant and on it, like, yay, God, the lockdown, because we seeing prophecy, we looking at prophecy, and it may seem crazy to some people, like, well, why would you be wanting this to happen? Because without these things to happen, then our Lord and Savior can't come back. See, the thing is, if you got your 10 toes, if you 10 toes down in this truth, you are vexed in this place. This place is like, how Mr. Smith said on The Matrix, it stink. This place is just, it's vexing to your spirit and your soul. The only time you really comforted it is for real when you amongst brothers. You know what I mean? Like, because at the end of the day, the average everyday joke from your woman to your family don't necessarily understand what you into. Now you got some brothers that's blessed that have a sibling that from the bloodline that they came into on this plane. You got brothers, put it like this: you got brothers that got actual bloodline brothers in the truth with them. So they can relate, and that's comforting to a certain extent. But at the same time, like for the most part, brothers don't have, a lot of times brothers buck up and get into it with their family. You know what I mean? Over this truth. That's one of the things they got to go through. We all going to have to suffer things in this truth. But, this place is vexing, you know what I mean? So, of course we want, this place to be done away and destroyed. When you take the time to listen to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh promises, how the kingdom of heaven is going to be, you know what I mean? Make me think about, Earth, Wind, and Fire fantasy, or, when I think of the kingdom, I think of that song. You know what I mean? But, yeah, the Lord going to bring these people low, because when people were terrified, when they locked it down the first time, they were worried. You got people who got worried, you know what I mean? But then, being that they opened it back up. My demon even said that. She was like, oh yeah, the coronavirus is over with. Now I'm looking at her like, are you fucking serious? So, you know what I mean? As much as people think they know, if you ain't got the spirit of truth, or if you ain't got the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh moving through you, you ain't gonna know nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's why you got people like the Dabu Sevens and, you know what I mean? Certain people that consider truthers. They have a bit of truth, but they don't have the truth. We have 100% truth at Great Millstone. So call Allah Yamla Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh for giving me the spiritual eye salve to see that and get that. So, if you're a so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the laws, to the statutes, and the commandments of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, Salakia, to the laws, statutes, commandments of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, or be destroyed. Because those laws, statutes, commandments were written for you. You know what I mean? Only person that could transgress the laws, statutes, commandments is Israelite. And, you know, and what do they say transgression is? Transgression of sin is the breaking of the law, statutes, and commandments. So, like I said again, if you're so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the laws, to the statutes and commandments of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, be destroyed. And with that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to call Halayim La Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, Ba'Shem Rachak, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing his truth with faith and sincerity, as well as risking their lives, as well as their freedom to do so. Shalom to the Akwath and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willingly, this is an edifying video. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of the other nations, appearing like the other nations, but subscribing to this truth. To you, I say shalom. Till next time, I'm able to come with another lesson. Lord willingly, it's soon. Shalom, shalom, and mawath lababah. Shalom.